frick,
Right, animals do.
an earthworm can probably sense when they're afraid. They sense
Right.
it too.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. That's really weird you said that because Peabody Hall, I had some student workers and it was always the guys that were like, "Oh my God, I don't want to stay there anymore." And they would tell me the stories of some of their friends and we're like, it's terrible.
What
So
what
yeah.
state was that in?
Ohio,
Ohio,
Okay,
Butler
thank you.
County. Yeah,
Oxford.
universities in Oxford. Yeah, Oxford, Ohio. Peabody Hall. Yeah, it's the oldest building on campus.
That's actually, I was up in Ohio years ago, but I was at Old Man's Cave up in Ohio. I
Massachusetts,
think
but they
that's up
call
near
it the Peabody.
Lancaster.
Oh, that's Hocking Hills, isn't it? Hocking Hills has got
Yes.
some scary stuff there too.
Yes.
Did you stay in the cabins
Dude,
there?
that's a really, no, I just went up for the day, but even walking through that area was do you ever go through areas where you just feel like you're like there's a ripple in time? Like it's
Yeah.
weird. Like
You know,
that's
this
how that area felt.
it's so weird you said that because my husband and I went up there and we stayed. You stay in the cabins and they have like the hot tub. So we got in the hot tub. We were having some wine out there on the deck, and you can hear all the crickets, you can hear all the frogs and stuff. It was in the summer, and all of a sudden that all just quit. It just stopped,
Yep.
and I was like, well, this is weird, and it stopped for a significant amount of time, at least 5-10 minutes maybe, and it was weird. It was very scary because there's something out there. There is. So I was like, "What's this?" And then it
Yeah.
was so funny because I saw a show. It's been about a couple months ago. They had some scary shows on, and there was a group because a lot of times people go in groups and stay at the big cabins. And there was a whole family, and they said that they had encountered Bigfoot or something. The one guy was out drinking, and everybody else had went to bed. He was just having relaxing on the deck, and they went out in the morning because he heard some stuff, and they found a footprint. So there's something weird about that whole place. It's beautiful, but yeah, I remember.
Well, again, it's like Route 76. It's like 76 going through Pennsylvania. It's
Yeah.
funny because I have traveled that road. Can't tell you how many times I've gone back and forth between Ohio and New York. And they say that again, it's a place where there is actually a time river. And yes, I can tell you that you lose time on that road. It's
Yeah,
weird, but
I never
it's
had
like you
any
actually
problem with that, Nancy.
no,
Now,
not at all, Mark.
and I'm from there. Now, Route 30 through Pennsylvania. Oh yeah, there's definitely uh, because you have Gravity Hill that goes through there, and it's on part of it.
Actually, where I'm at, there's a place here called Spook Hill. If you Google it, it's one of these places where it's like gravity works backwards here. It's
Oh,
there's
the
actually
railroad crossing or
yeah,
something there.
it's
Oh,
not
Yeah, I've heard of
Spook
that.
Hill is yeah, Spook Hill is not a railroad crossing, but it is literally a road where it's like gravity is going the wrong way on that road. I can't explain it, but it's crazy.
isn't it?
But again, it's called Spook Hill. And this is not something that happened with new construction. This is something that was historically known. Like even the natives knew that area, there was something different about it.
Well, and
So
there's like
yeah,
there's
and
in
there's
San Antonio like that too, isn't that's the railroad crossing, I think, where you
yep,
take your car and if it goes up, like it'll go
things
off
roll
the
uphill.
yeah, they roll
Yep,
up the
it
hill.
rolls uphill.
And it's so
Yep,
strange.
yep,
And then they like there's handprints or something on the cars too, or something. They said it was really weird. But San Antonio is
yep.
an interesting little town too. I think, it's not little, but it's an interesting city. It's kind of scary too.
Well, it makes me wonder too, though. Like if you graph out this area, there is actually a conjunction of ley lines locally, so it's just one of those things where you're like, really? But again, there's a lot of, I mean, granted, again, you had a very ancient tribe that made it's basically its home here. You have
Yeah.
an area that goes gravity backwards here. I mean, it's
That's
just there's a
strange.
lot of synchronicity. Yeah. And actually,
Yeah.
they're in Crystal River. They're expediting an archaeological site. In fact, I've been there twice now because it's so intriguing to me. Some of the things that they're unearthing there. Number one, there's a definitive Mayan influence in the art that they're and the pottery that they're bringing up at this archaeological site. And I
Yeah.
mean, there's no two ways about it. There is massive Mayan influence in this. But
And they
then
tell
there's
us the Mayans didn't extend that far north, but the Mayan range did.
correct. Correct.
Mhm.
Like I said, there's definitive, I mean, there's no doubt about what's on this pottery. But more than that, there's several stones at the site. I gotta pull up my photographs because I actually have a log. It reminds me of some of the petroglyphs you see in France. It's very specific type of, and they're saying that it can't be dated because it's done in stone. It's older than basically the civilizations they're unearthing. And I'm looking at it going, my God, it goes back. It looks like the petroglyphs over in France. And it's
Oh,
funny because I was
human
there with the
human
literally
civilization goes back millions of years, if you ask me. I mean,
Yeah.
boom. Yep, exactly. You guys can see it's so
humans.
funny because it's the video broadcast is starting to get a lot of interest from people walking by, which is funny.
Oh,
They're all
you-
even the cop was like looking at the camera.
it's funny because I've lived in Ohio all my life, and I didn't know I guess maybe I was just surfing through YouTube one night, and there was a lot of truckers saying that Ohio is one of the scariest places to drive through. They don't
Yeah,
Let me tell you
Roger
something.
said that one time. Hey,
Yeah.
Roger, chip in.
I always thought other places were scarier in Ohio.
Okay,
Because
nothing bad against Ohio, but Ohio is one of the scariest places on earth to fly into. Forget driving to Cleveland International Airport is not a fun place. It's like I think, dude, I think
where
they
have you
invented
flown into?
spandex.
What airport did you fly into? Because we're right here. Where we're at is very central to Cincinnati, CBG, and
No,
Dayton.
Cleveland. It was Cleveland, and I can tell
Oh,
you that every woman who was way too overweight wore spandex in that airport. And I was just like, where am I in hell? It's like
it's like
I
the
don't want to
damn
look at this
art
all
store,
day.
huh?
It was just it was oh Lord. But I mean, between my two least favorite airports, Cleveland and Chicago, Air, and I think I'll give it to Chicago. Chicago is like the worst airport I've ever flown into my life. I don't like Atlanta because of the traveling distance between gates. But
Yeah.
Chicago, I I mean, I would fly in and out of Newark a million times before I flew into Chicago again. I do not like Chicago again. And Newark
Yeah.
sucks. Trust me.
Yeah.
Newark, New
I'm
Jersey.
there. I've been out
I
of
mean, the
CBG
airport
and
itself is
Dayton.
okay. Driving around the airport sucks. But
Yeah.
like I said, it's like they designed the exterior of the airport to make people get lost and not be able to find their way out.
I see that all the time.
It's designed to torture the people that come into it,
Right?
It's like
like
I said
some
to somebody once,
sadist.
yes, like literally, it's like you sometimes wonder if these architects were literally sadists and like, well, let's just design the airport exit so they can never get out.
That
Let's
sounds
put the
like
arrow
Middletown.
that way, but they can't go that way.
It sounds like Middletown. The road streets here, they go like you have like they just go all the around. You can't like get off a road sometimes. You just like turn. You have to go all the way down miles and then come back
Yep.
around. This whole town is strange. It's I've never seen
Well,
anything like it.
even okay,
Everybody
so
drives like stupid here. So
we
yeah.
have like okay, so in Pinellas County, you've got Clearwater Beach, which is a huge tourist attraction here in Florida. It's one of our touristy beaches.
So
Well,
that's
a couple of years back, they apparently got this brilliant idea that the local government Clearwater, they needed to redo the entry onto Clearwater Beach because of traffic. Well, guess what, guys? Traffic happens in tourist locations. Just gonna put that out there. So they designed
yeah.
this really artistic roundabout. Yeah,
Oh
Yeah,
that
God,
was
not
brilliant.
them roundabouts.
Ohio too.
Dude,
There's a lot around
these
town. They're not
idiots
artistic.
spent, we're talking millions of dollars they spent on this stupid roundabout where they didn't do the exits correctly. So they opened the roundabout to the public and nobody could get from the center ring of the roundabout to the outer ring of the roundabout to
Are
exit
you
the
kidding?
roundabout. So if you got into the roundabout and went into the center ring, you were pretty much stuck doing circles until a cop showed up and let you swipe. It was I mean a massive mess.
So
They're
what they have to do? Close it down and redo it or something?
Yes, they had to spend another like again tens of millions of dollars to shut it down.
they're building. They
The
build a lot of
roundabout.
roundabouts up here in Ohio too, and they put hills in the middle of them so you can't see what's coming onto the other side.
It's goofy. Yeah.
It's and they've
Yeah.
had a lot of wrecks because of those. You can't see what's coming around the bend because they put a hill in the middle of it. Must have been.
Well, and remember the one also where they measured something wrong, so they had to close instead of closing the whole thing down.
Yep.
They closed the one lane down because they had to make the curve wider or something. And this poor
Yeah.
guy, poor kid was he was in his late 20s, I guess. He was in there working, the worker, and this older man came around and he killed him. So he wouldn't even have been killed if they had closed the whole thing down, just got done with it that day. But no, or for however many days it was. No, they left it open, and then so yeah, it started out kind of bad.
I tell you,
Because
if I was
people
gonna
been
do,
killed at that intersection anyway, so I think it's kind of cursed
if I
anyhow.
was gonna do like an investigation on like let's say an interstate or a highway in Tampa, we have an area where I-275 intersects with I-4. Okay, I-4 is the main highway across the state of Florida. It goes completely across the state. Well, 275 goes to Tampa. So the geniuses that be in the DOT build this underpass overpass situation. It is literally called malfunction junction by anybody that lives in this area because you can't see.
It's
As you're
terrible.
going into it, you can't see the traffic on the other side. So
Have you
if
ever
there's-
thought some of these roads are like designed for population control?
they're death traps. But
That's
if
the
I was
point.
to do a paranormal investigation, I guarantee I'd be busy all night at that intersection because there's like a death there every couple of days because people
Well-
plow into the back of traffic.
Oh my God.
Your government's out to kill you.
Your government's out. Well, that and then a big thing down here is they have the driving the wrong way in traffic situation.
Oh, that's
Our
just
inter-
Alzheimer's patients get out of nursing homes.
No, it's our interstate exit signs in Tampa are not really well marked. So if
There's
you
Oh,
are
shit.
not familiar,
There's a few here like that because my boyfriend and I we went to see my daughter, and we were getting off on the interstate because it was dark and we weren't familiar with it, and then all of a sudden we see the sign, and I was like, oh my God, it says we're going the wrong way, and it obviously there's this huge sign, but it's like it's as you get into it. So we got off of it luckily, but it's obvious that a lot of people have done that there, and they just need to change it. And our GPS, the way GPS does it, GPS tells you to turn right there,
Yeah.
but it's not there. It's like up above there. So that's what
Well-
the problem is too, is the GPS, the way it's described on that.
I will tell you that there's been a lot of problems over the last month. Again, I'm in technology, I do cybersecurity. I will tell you that GPS has had a lot of problems over the last
It's
month.
scary.
I mean, a lot.
That's because,
It's-
yeah, and that's what him and I were saying. When there's this huge
The show's
sign
rebooting.
there,
So
people are going that way all the time. They're getting on. I'm always like, how do people get on the interstate the wrong way? Then here we are, get on the interstate the wrong way. I was like, oh my God.
And again, and it's like I said, with downtown Tampa exiting onto the interstates, you're coming out of a lot of bar and club